Welcome everyone to Taribio Speaks Live Series podcast. The last edition of the program, we had Mrs. Elizabeth Allagoa with us here in the studio. Now, for those of you who might not have watched that, I will advise you at this point to pause this particular one and go back to watch that before you come back to this one, because it will give you a sense of what we are dealing with here. Mrs. Allagoa had 3 children, out of which only one is still alive, and he's living with cerebral palsy. You're welcome, Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the sacrifice.
God bless
I
you.
cannot overemphasize how much I admire and appreciate you.
Thank you
So
much.
while we were discussing the last time, we talked about his educational pursuits. So I would like to hear more. How was it, the educational pursuit? What are the challenges that you experienced, apart from the primary school, which we have talked about?
A sick man could learn mentally.
Yes.
Whatever you tell him, it's like he has a recorder inside him. It takes him. So his learning was basic mental learning. He had problem with his writing, dexterity. So most of the time we had to teach him how to learn to write fast. He cannot partake in things like drawing because of how to twist the hand. He cannot do technical drawing.
And I know that most of the time they have to go through physiotherapy
all the
time because the muscles, the limbs.
Yes.
How often were you having physiotherapy?
Initially, we were going to Port Harcourt. When
From
we came
Bayelsa State.
when we came to Bayelsa, those facilities were not here. So we were going to UPTH.
Okay.
And then gradually, they opened the physiotherapy department here. We met a young man called Francis, and we started going to the hospital weekly. Then later, it became so tedious. But I have to go to work. My husband will go to work. Any day we are taking the 2 of them to see the physiotherapist, we have to cancel
That's
our
a Sigma
work.
and
A Sigma
Emmanuel.
and Emmanuel,
They were
we were
both
taking them
for
to the hospital for physio. So with time, we now made arrangement for home treatment. So they were coming home. And the young man was so good. He said, "Madam, cerebral palsy is not like stroke or polio patients or fall or anything, accident. That cerebral palsy, the healing is slow. And you will give treatment and you might not see the result. So let me just assist you by coming home." And that was how he started coming home twice weekly. And we did it for years. It wasn't easy.
So
We
from
did it
secondary
for
school,
years.
when a Sigma got into
From secondary school, I think sometimes if you cannot meet up with the copying, we bring notebooks, or sometimes when the father goes to pick him, we will ask for a note from a classmate that is living nearby so that he can now write and return. And we too became his teachers. We had to read and teach him at home. We had to hire home teachers.
And the fact that you are an educationist came in handy too.
And my being a special educationist really helped. It really helped to an extent. But as I said, the theory is not the same as the practical. But it helped to an extent.
So what about university?
Then university was another level. When he started at the law school, Faculty of Law here, to take him to school, the father had to drive him to school daily and bring him. If by chance he had to travel, we had to make arrangements for somebody to take him to school, bring him back. And the first year, it was basically downstairs. His classroom was downstairs. And it was this. When the Sigma started his secondary school, it was at Baikas Agodama. It was a downstairs school, so there was no problem. But when they moved to Azikro Road, it was upstairs, so the father had to carry him up this thing. In Faculty of Law, When they took his classroom upstairs, the father is late with him. He had to carry him on his back up the stairs. Then they were listening. Then the school too didn't help matters. Classroom upstairs, toilet downstairs. So when the sick man is pressed, he will now have to look for people to bring him back.
Oh.
Not one, not two, but 3 people, so that they'll be able to carry him down. And it wasn't easy for a sick man. He complained a lot. We went to the school, talked to the authorities, but there was nothing they could do. The buildings have already been put in place. But by God's grace, he passed through. Now he started the law school. His law school was at Agodama. There, the toilet there, for a sick man to enter with his wheelchair was a problem. It was so disabled unfriendly. The classroom downstairs quite all right, but the toilet, for him to access the toilet was a problem. But we passed through. He really found it difficult because the first year, he was 9 weeks late. And there, one day, you are writing over 50 pages. So you cannot imagine 9 weeks.
He had so much backlog.
A single man couldn't cope.
Because we stacked.
We had to encourage him. We became non-academic law students with him. We had to help him, assist him, read. We would do research with him, go to the library, or check the internet, and then we teach him, and was able to do it, but he couldn't make it.
The first time?
No, he couldn't.
So
the second time, the same. We now went to this, it was during the COVID, we went to Abuja for the exam because receipt, all the centers would go to converge at Abuja. We went there for 3 weeks program. We ended up staying, was it 5 or 4 months? We had to pay hotel. It was too expensive. We looked for a house, hire an apartment, and we cooked. I roll him to school in the morning, bring him back. Most of the time I have to roll him because people are not, there is no empathy for people with disabilities. Young men will see you rolling a child on wheelchair or a young man on wheelchair. Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, ma. They will just walk past you. Very few, 1 in a million, will say, ma, let me help you to the gate. And we went through law school. During the COVID, he couldn't cope. The sick man said he wasn't going to go to law school again. The father talked to him, I talked to him, we counseled him. I met our pastor counseled him. When they even changed the pastor, another one came. I went and met the man came, counseled him, prayed with him, and said, go, you will make it. And then God brought this young man, a barrister, his colleague, when they were in NGU together, that God told him that he should make a single man his project that year. So 2022, when he went back for the 3rd time, this young man will follow us to school. Any day he was free, no court case, he will go to school with him. During the weekend, he will come. He said, Mommy, a single man knows, he knows the principle, it's just to write. So he now concentrated on teaching a single man how to write. He will give him this thing because in school they gave them 100 questions to answer in 1 hour. 1 hour. So he now taught him like that.
How to write fast.
How to write fast, both theory and objectives. When we went back to Abuja for the exam, that 2020, he went with him. We looked for money. God provided money. He went with us. Instead of going for tutorial, he took a sick man for writing. He said, just write. I went to the school and requested for extra time for him. And they gave him 5 minutes for OBJ. And then that is objective question. Then 10 minutes for this. And I tell you, I got mad. I said, no, we have a special education. And this is what the edicts say. Last year, you gave him, or 2020, you gave him 30 minutes. Why 5 and 10? Then somebody said, oh, law school is a vocational school. I said, no way. Then God spoke. Don't worry, I will use the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. Hold your peace. And that was it. I wasn't bothered again. I just went back to this and told the sick man, this is what God said. We stayed another 3 weeks there. Mr. John Paul stayed with us. He's a barrister too. He's now in Russia.
He's in Russia.
Yes, he put a sick man through. He said, don't worry. And when the exam came, as they said, time up, they will say, Madam, come and take your child. I said, didn't you give him the 10 minutes? They said, no, your son finished before that.
Finished before that?
I'm telling you.
In law school?
I tell you. And wow. Come and see me bubbling, smiling, non-academic law student. And that was it. At the end of the day, he made it. And we just give glory to God because whatever it is God that did it. It's not we.
Yes. and let's get into advocacy.
Yes.
Before we call it a wrap on this edition. Yes. You have been advocating for those living with disabilities through a foundation, and Grace Foundation, and you also have the Esinkuma and Emmanuel Foundation, your 2 sons.
Yes.
So what has it been? What is the experience? What are the stories you have seen, heard? How is it dealing with different people trying to create awareness about disabilities?
We got to know of the Engraced ones through a friend, Miss Becky, my colleague in the office. Her sister came visiting from Abuja, and she brought her to come and see me. And then the lady, her name is Mr. Bibore Nyinkere. She's a Bayasan too from Tungbo, but the husband and her, they live in Abuja. She now came and told me about the Engraced ones, a forum of parents or lovers of people with disability, that they have this prayer and advocacy group. So she now included me. That was when I was still working, 2018. She included me in the group. I was now following through WhatsApp and Facebook. We were praying, and then we now continued. So 2020, when we went to Abuja, they had a Cerebral Palsy Day celebration, 6th October, every 6th October. So we joined, and they really showcased Esinkuma, that he is a survivor.
He's a
They labeled him Cerebral Palsy Warrior, and we followed. So when we came back, they said, go and start Bayelsa chapter
of
and they encourage Esinkuma to form his own NGO so that he will only collaborate with them.
Okay.
And we are still in the process of registering this thing, but for the past 3 years, we've been collaborating with the Engraced ones, Abuja, and we've been having prayer and advocacy work. Now this year again is coming up, 6th October. But it's on a Sunday. So we decided that we are going to have it on 5th.
That's on Saturday.
On Saturday. We are going to have a walk.
A road walk?
We are going to have a road walk. We will have prayers, section, praise and worship. And then we are going to have what is called catwalking. For both the children and the parents and lovers of people living with disability. Yes, we are going to tell them that you don't need to kill your child. Because
people kill their children.
Hey, you don't know. In this bias, a lot of children have waka, according to people. The pikin don't waka. They will tell me, mommy, there is a child like this. By the time we will arrange and go there, they will say, mommy, the child don't waka. Parents neglect their cerebral palsy children. You know, cerebral palsy is not like hearing impairment, visual impairment, or mental retardation. This one affects you. So most of them are completely dependent. So parents will just leave them there, give them food as if it's an animal they are giving food. They will pee there, wee there, poo there. Oh, no. When you see some situations, it's piteous. You will say, Che, is this a human being? And I ask people, I say, my child is a cerebral palsy child. But look at him. Even Emmanuel that was completely dependent, I never abandoned them. I dress my children when we are going to church. My children are correctly dressed. Is it shoe? Is it dressing? And the manners for Emmanuel, he loved dressing. When you dress him, he will smile, kick his leg, try to talk, telling you that he loves this. So now we are going to dress our children. We will walk the cat or whatever you call it.
The wrong way.
We will walk the wrong way or walk way. We will walk it. The parents too will come. So I know that you and Ellis with her brother, you'll be there. And I'm going to, I love this dress. So that day maybe you will showcase it.
All right.
We will tell them that even though we have children with disabilities, we are not down.
They are able differently.
They are able differently. The children are able differently. And we, the parents too, we are.
Thank you so much, Ma. Yes, thank you so much, Ma.
Yes.
So it's been an emotional and eye-opening session here at Taribio Speaks Live Series podcast. We hope to see you again in our next edition. Until then, I'm Taribio Wilson Owefawari.